All right, let's talk about something every single person who works with data runs into. You write a query, and you get back, well, a mess. In this explainer, we're going to turn that messy output into clean, professional results. Let's jump in and get a handle on two of the most important tools you've got in your SQL toolkit.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a really simple query. We're just going to pull some basic information from an employee database. But I've got a feeling the results are going to look frustratingly familiar to a lot of you.
Sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so. You write what feels like a perfectly good query, you hit run, and what you get back is just messy. It's cluttered, it's confusing, and it is definitely not something you want to show your boss.
And yep, there it is. See the problems? We've got duplicate departments listed over and over. Marketing and sales show up more than once. And then you've got these weird blank spots, these null values. This is our starting point. This is the raw, messy data that we are about to completely transform.
So first things first, how do we deal with all those duplicate rows? Our first tool is a simple but really, really powerful keyword, distinct. This is your absolute go-to for getting a clean, unique list of values. So let's look at this before state one more time. We're just asking for a list of all the departments in our company, but the raw data is giving us every single entry, duplicates and all. Our goal is super simple, just one entry for marketing, one for sales, and so on down the list. And the way to do it could not be easier. Seriously, you just add the keyword distinct right there after select. That is it. You're basically telling the database, hey, listen, just show me the unique values in this column and only the unique values. Don't give me all the junk. And boom, check out the result. It's a clean, deduplicated list of every single department. All that clutter is just gone. And all it took was adding one simple word. That right there is the power of distinct.
Okay, one problem down. We've handled the duplicates, but now it's time for our next challenge. What's up with those mysterious blank spots? You see, in SQL, these aren't just empty cells. They're null values, and they have a very, very specific meaning.
This is probably the most crucial thing to get right. Null means unknown. That's it. It does not mean zero, and it does not mean a blank piece of text. It's just a placeholder for a value that is missing, or maybe it was never even recorded. This concept is totally fundamental to how SQL works.
This is where people get tripped up all the time, so let's make it super clear. Think of it like this. Null is a locked treasure chest. We have no idea what's inside. Maybe it's gold, maybe it's nothing, we just don't know. A zero or an empty string, on the other hand, is an open, empty chest. We know for a fact there's nothing in there. So a null bonus means we don't know the amount. A zero bonus means we know for sure it's $0. Totally different things.
And here's the other tricky part. Because null means unknown, you can't use a normal equal sign to find it. You can't say where bonus equals null. It just won't work. Instead, you have to use this special syntax right here. Is null to find the nulls, or is not null to find everything else. So now that we get what null is, what do we actually do about it in our results? Well, for that, we've got a pretty cool specialized toolkit. Let's look at two incredibly useful functions, coalesce and nullif.
First up, we have coalesce. You can think of this as your safety net for null values. You give it a list of options, and it just goes down the list and gives you back the very first value it finds that isn't null. It is perfect for swapping in a default value, like maybe replacing a null bonus amount with a zero so you can do math with it.
And then there's its counterpart, nullify. This one does pretty much the exact opposite. You give it two values, and if they happen to be identical, it returns null. If they're different, it just gives you back the first value. This is super useful for data cleaning. Like, let's say your system stores a placeholder, like n/a, that you really want to treat as a true unknown, or null.
So just to really hammer this home, think of them as a matched pair. Coalesce takes a null that you don't want and gives you something useful back. Nullif takes a specific value that you want to treat as a null and makes it one. They're two sides of the same coin, and together they give you total control over your missing data.
All right, time for the grand finale. We've learned about distinct, we've figured out null, and we've got coalesce in our back pocket. Now let's combine all of these tools to write one final, elegant, and perfectly clean query.
Let's watch how this comes together, step by step. We start with a basic select. Then we use as to give our column a nice, clean, readable name. That's called an alias. Then we add in our distinct keyword to get rid of all those duplicates. And for the final touch, we wrap our column in coalesce to replace any null values with something meaningful, like unassigned. See? Each keyword just adds another layer of polish.
And here it is, our final masterpiece. Just look at that. There are no duplicates. All those pesky null values have been replaced with something that actually makes sense, and the column has a clear, professional-looking header. Now this is a table you can be proud to show someone.
Now, before we wrap this up, here's a quick little cheat sheet with all the key terms we covered. We've got distinct for uniqueness, as for renaming, null for those unknown values, coalesce for replacing nulls, and nullif for creating them. Keep this handy because this is your new toolkit for clean data.
And that's really all there is to it. You now have the fundamental tools to take that raw, messy data and turn it into clear, actionable results. So the only question left is, what messy data are you going to clean up first? Thanks for watching.